Today I want to make a review uh, on Heads Up 7 Up game. I used the game with my fourth graders and I noticed some setbacks. So I want to let you know what the setbacks are and how I was able to resolve it. Okay, to resolve them. Um, One thing I noticed was my student found it difficult remembering the food we used, because those flashcards of the 7 food I selected and I used for the game, they couldn't remember them. So what I now did with my second class, with my other class, after that particular class, was I made a copy double, of the food flashcard. So those flashcard, the photocopy that I made, I placed them on the board, randomly, scattered all over the board. So I have some things on here. So we're going to assume this is the board, my blackboard, okay, and these are the flashcards. The flashcard with the word for eggs, and then the picture of the eggs, jam, ice cream, rice ball, cake, pizza, and steak. These were the flashcard I used when I taught my class. So this flashcard, I just placed them randomly on the board like that. Then the normal game, you have to ask for 7 students to come to the front of the classroom. So these are the 7 students. Okay, these people represent the 7 students, and the letters you can see on top of them are the flashcards I gave them after I told them to hide it behind. So one other thing I noticed is the flashcards, which is the size of A4, was a little bit, it didn't do what I really wanted it to do. So what I did was to cut them, make a mini version of it with my second class, and those mini version of it, I was able to place those mini version of it on the student's palm, so it's easier for them. Instead of putting the A4 flashcard behind them, they had this mini card on their palm, so they could easily look at it without the other students standing up, to know what card they have with them. So like the game, in my previous video, I told you you have to get 7 students, because the title of the game is Heads Up 7 Up. Okay, so these 7 students came out, and then you will tell the other students sitting down to put their heads down on their desk and then close their eyes. So these 7 students that are standing in front of the classroom, I now tell them, when they hear 7 up, they have to go to their friends, those ones sitting down with their heads down. They have to go and tap them on their shoulders. So the students that are tapped have to raise up their hands, okay, and then when they hear head 7 up again, the second time, they have to come back to the front of the classroom. So it is after they come back to the front of the classroom, I'll now give them the small mini card I told you about that represent this food here on the board. Okay, now also, before the game started, the flashcards, the A4 flashcards, were thoroughly drilled, and the students were able, I told them to remember the position of the cards, not these ones that are randomly. I placed this card, for example, this is ice cream, rice ball, okay, steak, jam, eggs. So students, before starting the game, I drilled these flashcards and I left them there on the board, and I told the student to remember the position of those cards. Okay, so after starting the game, I removed those cards. And I gave the students standing in front of the classroom a mini version of the card, but I didn't give it to them the way those cards were, were placed in front of the on the board. I didn't put them randomly. I didn't put them in sequence. I, I didn't put them in sequence. Okay, I gave the students, like I told you, this card is ice cream. Okay, this is rice ball, and just like that I placed those cards on the board, and I told the student to please remember where those cards are, the sequence. Okay, now once they told me they were okay with the sequence, I told them it's up, so they have to go to sleep. You place their heads on top of their desk and then close their eyes. So these 7 students now move out, touch their friends, and then when they hear 7 up, they come back to their position. It is when they come back to their position and I place the mini card of those food, I place them on their palm, and then when the other students with their heads on the decks, when they hear heads up, this time, the second time, they have to raise up their heads and open their eyes, and while those students that were tapped will stand up. Okay, so once they are standing up, these students that are lined up, the 7 students that are lined up in front of the classroom, we now make use of this target sentence: what food do you like? So those students that were tapped standing up, we have to guess which of these students actually tapped them. So they by their guessing, they have to answer I like. Now when they are now replying I like, these cards that are placed on the board will help them to remember the names of the food that is being used for this game. So for example, if this is if this student is given steak, this one is given jam, eggs, ice cream, rice ball. The alphabets represent the first letter for each of the food. Okay, now like I told you, it is better to give the student standing in front a mini card version of the food that are randomly placed on the board. Okay, now this student now when they hear go, they say what food do you like? So once they say what food do you like, the students that are standing up, that they were tapped, we now have to reply I like. They have to say any of this food. They have to guess who tapped them by replying I like. For example, okay, so they have to guess. For example, if this student with S, remember I told you the letters represent the first letter for the food. So if S is steak and a student that was tapped now says I like steak, if the student, this particular student that has the steak flat mini card, this student, if the student that said I like steak is the student he or she tapped, the students will have to make exchange. They have to the one standing in front of the classroom, we have to go and sit down. They have to switch position. Also, one thing I also did, apart from putting all these cards in randomly on the board, I made a card that looks like this with bats on it. Okay, so the bat sign, the cross sign means no, while the zero sign means yes. So these 7 students, I gave them this card. So if a student is asked, what food do you like, and the person answers, like I told you, this person holding steak, the one of the students says, I like steak, and if the student that said I like steak is the one that tapped on this particular student, this student with the steak will have to show either yes, we either show the sign no or yes. So if it is yes, they have to switch their position. Do you understand? They have to switch position. This person with the steak flashcard will go back to his or her seat, and the one that said the correct answer will come to this place. Okay, now if this student is not the one that tapped this particular student, he or she has to show no, the X bat sign, meaning no, I'm not the one that tapped you. Okay, so this process is going to continue until the students are able to guess who tapped them. Okay, and if the student is not able to guess right, that particular student will sit down. But if the students are able to guess it right, they have to switch position. Okay, by switching position, the one that got it right will come to the front of the classroom, while the one that actually has that particular mini card of the steak will go and sit down. Okay, now if you want to do the game the second time, please use a different flashcard and make sure you drill this card with the students, and also make an extra copy. The extra copy I mean is a copy you'll be able to put randomly on your board. Okay, I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say, and I hope you're going to check this game out with your students. It's really a good game. Maybe for junior high school, they might probably not have problem with remembering any of the flashcards that are being used, but for the young learners, their memory it's very short. For they don't have this long span of remembering things, so that is where an extra flashcard is needed. That was how I was able to do my second class after I noticed this setback with my first class. So let me know if you're going to try this, and let me also know what your thoughts are. Until then, I will see you in my next video. Thank you.